Hi, welcome. Today I'd like to start off with making a grapevine wreath with you. I'm so happy that you could join me. It's been about a week since I've made a video, so for anyone who's watching, thank you so much for tuning in. And let me show you what we're going to be working on today. Okay, I've got a 14-inch grapevine wreath that we're going to be working on. I'll be needing to put the hanger on. I thought I would show you how to do that today. One of the first things that you want to do is clean up your grapevine, which I've done a little bit. If there were any leaves or pine needles, I've gone ahead and removed the majority of them. And then decide which side you want to design on. This side being a little bit thicker, I think I would like to put my stems in here and leave this side open. So if I were to hang this, this is the side I'm going to work on. So right here is where I would place my hanger. I just picked it up, and then I'm using an 18 gauge paper wrapped floral wire, and I'm just going to stick through some of the grapevine, make a loop, come back, go through grabbing some of the grapevine, if I put that down, I think you can still see it. So I've got those at the same length. Then you're going to just bring the loop up like so, take the ends and just wrap them. You can see that I'm just wrapping it once and then pushing down into the vine. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Bring it through once, come around again and push that edge down into the grapevine, and then we have our hanger. It's that simple. And it's always a good idea to put a hanger on, because when the customer receives the wreath, they don't know the way you designed it to hang, and it can be confusing. So this way, when they receive it, it's all ready to go, and they know it's going to go in this position. And let me show you some of the florals we're going to be working with. I've got some greenery, I've got fern, I've got some greenery that I've already cut up that has some branches, twigs, and berries. It has a nice mix. I've got some peonies that I've already cut in a beautiful hot pink, light pink, a white with a light pink center. Also, some stargazer lilies that have that pink and a small bud. And then as another floral to use, I thought I would bring in the ranunculus, which also has some greenery on it as well. And I have a couple of hydrangeas, white hydrangeas, just to break it up a little bit. We'll be using that. Then my thoughts were, I wasn't sure if I wanted to put a bow on this design or if I just wanted it to be 1/2 all florals. And then I thought maybe it would be fun and a little whimsical. We'll see as we go along. But I thought this flamingo ribbon, the peonies match so nicely with that. And then as a backdrop, we could use some of this moss green. So that's my thought. This is what we'll use if we decide to put a bow, which I think I am. And the bow will probably go in this section right over here. Maybe down here at about 7 o'clock position, if this were a clock. We can have some tails hanging. So we'll do that, and we'll make the bow together. A lot of times I go ahead and get that ready, but I thought we'd go over making a bow again. So before we get started, I'll introduce myself. My name is Elaine. I'm owner and creator at Inspired by My Angel, CLM. I'm new at the art of wreath making. My journey began in September of 2020. I have explained this so many times to people, and I hate to be repetitious, but if there's someone new who's just joining, I'd like to give you a little bit of background. My shop name is Inspired by My Angel, CLM, and that's in memory of my daughter, Sherry Lee, who I lost at the age of 22 years old, my only child. And it's been 25 years. She just had her angelversary on the 28th of April. It has been 25 years. I still speak to Sherry every day and feel her presence around me. And back in August of 2020, I lost my job, and my thoughts were, what am I going to do with myself? And led to Sherry, what am I going to do? I decided after doing a little cleaning in the house, I said, oh, well, it's almost September. Let me get my wreath out and hang my fall wreath. The wreath has seen better days, so I decided, oh, let me go to YouTube and I'll watch some DIYs. I had never made a wreath before, and maybe I can make my own wreath. Trying to be a little frugal, seeing how I didn't have the extra money coming in with my job. So off to the craft store I went, and I purchased some supplies, and I came home and I watched a video and created a wreath, and it came out quite nice. But the most important thing was I experienced joy in the process of creating that wreath. The only other experience I had with any type of crafting was, as I said, when I lost my daughter 25 years ago. That first Christmas was very difficult, very early in my grief, and how was I going to celebrate without her with me any longer? So I began buying a Christmas tree and placing it at her gravesite, and I made angels, and I hung them on a tree and placed a laminated card asking anyone who knew Sherry and was visiting, or if anyone was just curious and stopping by, that I would appreciate if they would take an angel and hang it in their home in Sherry's memory. So I've been doing that for the last 25 years. I did move, and I now live in Florida, so I no longer place a Christmas tree at the gravesite. But my best friend back in Rhode Island, her and her husband are the keepers of Sherry's site for me, and I send up angels every year, and they place them for me at the cemetery, so we still continue to give away angels in Sherry's memory. So that's a little background in why my shop and my YouTube video names are Inspired by My Angel, CLM, because I truly feel the joy I experienced making that first wreath was similar to the joy I experienced as I gave away angels in Sherry's memory. So I thought, okay, Sherry, you're pushing me in this direction, so here I am, I'm going with it. So I've signed up for a couple of design classes, and I've been enrolled in those since October. I have opened an Etsy shop, and I'm happy to say selling my wreaths. And I thought the next step was to do some videos and perhaps show some of you, even without experience, get involved, take a class. This is something that you can do. So as I go on this new journey, I just thought I would like to take a few of you with me. Some of you may want to make wreaths, some of you may just want to purchase wreaths. But anyway, let's get started on our wreath for today, okay? The one thing I have learned in design school is the first place I begin is setting up a perimeter, getting a line for my design. So I've gone ahead, I've taken a couple of ferns and I have taped them together. And I'm going to use these to establish where I want my design to begin and finish. When we insert our stems, we always go in the direction of our grapevine. So that would be in this direction. What I'm going to do is dip this in some glue. I use a skillet, a regular kitchen electric fry pan. And I melt my glue in it, and it's just easier to, oh, I got to turn that up a little bit. It's just easier to, and quicker, to dip your stems rather than trying to use a glue gun and go around and burning yourself. You can control the temperature on the fry pan. So I do like using that. I do have this set up in case I need it. But the consistency on this should be somewhat like honey. This is still a little on the thick side, but it's okay, and that's how much glue I place. And then I'm going to go in here in the direction of the grapevine, and I'm going to place my first fern. And of course, I don't want it to be just straight. I want it to be more realistic looking, so I'm just going to give it a little bend. I've also learned that using Spanish moss, while the glue is still warm on the end of your stem, you're hiding the glue and you're also giving the stem a little more stability. So that's what I'm doing right now. Okay, so we have our first greenery in place. The other thing that I've learned in class is to go opposite, work back and forth. So if we're doing that, that means I'm going to come down here, and this would be where I would place. Keeping in mind, if I'm placing a bow, it's going to go here. So we'll place our next floral there. And this time, if the bow is here, that's going to act as our central binding point. So everything on that side of the bow will come in this direction. Anything on this side of the bow will be inserted and going in that direction. So we'll keep that in mind. We'll get a little bit of glue. And I'm going to come right in here. I'm going to get a little bit of my moss. And just take that and wedge that down in between my grapevines, getting to the glue that I just inserted on my stems. And then I'm just going to bend in an upward direction just to give these a little bit of movement. And separate those out. Okay? So we're opposite. And we're coming in that other direction. So now what I'd like to do is come in here, because that would be above my bow, and get one of our ferns placed here. And this is going to establish the line that we're going to stay within as our guide. And I hope I'm explaining this clearly to you. As I said, this is a new journey. I'm passionate. I'm just loving it so much. So this one I'm going to place here. Get a little bit of my moss. because I can see that glue. Plus I want to make sure that this is good and strong for the customer that's going to buy it. We want to make sure we're using good quality plants and florals for our designs. You could certainly make something using florals as practice from Dollar Tree, but if you plan on selling any of your designs, I would not recommend using that quality of florals. But it would be good to practice with. I feel as though that one needed a little bit more moss. It was turning on me, so I'm just putting a little bit of glue there, and I'm just going in and inserting a little bit more moss. I didn't feel as though it was stable enough. Okay. Now you see, nothing's flat. We want to create dimension on our wreath. So there we go. We've got those pieces placed. I've got one more left. And that one I would probably bring down here, or I've got this other branchy that I want to add to it. I think this one, I'll extend my line a little bit further this direction. So again, I'm going to bend the fern the way that it would be in nature. Get some glue. And placing in the direction of the grapevine. And then apply a little bit of the moss. So I'd like to have one coming out, but one going up a little bit into the center of the design. So there you go, you can see that. You can see how they're not flat. I'm thinking I need to make my decision now, and I've decided I will go ahead with a bow because I'll need to get that in place to help me discern the placement of the rest of my greenery. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So we'll make a bow. And just push this back a little bit. I don't know how well you'll be able to see, but we're going to try our best. I do use the Easy Bow Maker. So the first ribbon that I'll start with will be the moss green, which the greenery goes very nicely with this. It's a nice contrast to our flamingo ribbon. So I'm going to determine how long would I want that tail. If I put that bow here, how long would I want that to hang down? So let's see what this measures. It's about 12 inches. So what I'm going to do is just take my ribbon, insert it sideways, scrunch it down. This is going to be the tail. I bring that towards me. Next, I'm going to twist my ribbon so that the good side will be facing up. Again, I'm going to place it going in sideways. There's measurements on here. I hope you can see this. And I'm going to make my bow loops at just about 6 inches. I'm going to scrunch that down, and I'm going to give the ribbon a twist. I realize it's difficult for you to see, but in order for me to do a downward angle, I would have to take the camera down and reposition it. And I would need help to do that, so I do apologize. But hopefully my explaining will give you an idea. On some of my other videos, we have done it with the downward position, so perhaps you could watch one of those to see how we make the bow. I've scrunched that down, I'm twisting it again. I'm coming out to my 6-inch mark, scrunching it down, giving it a twist. Same thing again. So I've got 2 loops on either side. And now I'm just going to cut my tail at an angle and cut the other one in the opposite direction on an angle. Okay, we'll get this out of the way. And then we'll come back in with our flamingo ribbon. This will just give it a little bit of whimsy. So what I'm going to do is pull my ribbon out. I'm going to just go a little bit shorter on the tail, scrunch it down, twist. And this time I'm going to go to the 5-inch mark. Scrunch, twist. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side. I'm going to come to that 5. There's a marker right here, and I'm just placing my finger in the ribbon at the 5-inch mark. I'm going to scrunch that down, give it a twist. Do another one, same length, got 5 inches, scrunch it down, twist, bring it back, get it to the same length, scrunch it down. And cut our tail the same length as our other one. And what I just noticed is this flamingo is upside down. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this one go up. I'm going to cut it a little shorter. And we'll have the tail going up, and I'm just going to add another piece of ribbon for our tail, coming in the right direction so the flamingos are correct. I'm going to twist my ribbon. I'm going to make a small loop, cut that ribbon off, just leaving a little bit of an overhang. And because I've got one tail going out that way, I'm going to lay another piece of ribbon in so we have another one on the top as well. Okay? We'll make that one in the center here a little bit longer. And then this one we can cut a little shorter like we did before. And then I think I'd like to just bring a tail of the green Actually, I'm going to put that tail underneath this. Let's bring a little bit of the green forward too. I'm just going to cut a piece off and I'm going to lie that in there also. So right under this one. Just so we have a little green coming forward. So we've got two tails with a flamingo, two tails, a green, and a green. I think that should look nice. Now I'm going to tie this off with a zip tie. So I take my zip tie and I'm just going to run it right underneath all of my ribbons. Catch it here. Begin to tighten it, but I'm not going to tighten it all the way. Just enough so the ribbons are being held together. And I could take it off. And then I'm just going to get this bow maker out of the way. I'm going to take that zip tie and turn it to the back. I just want to have my tails coming in the right direction. Just get everything lined up, somewhat positioned. Just gonna put the bow loops where I think I would like them to be. So you can get an idea of what this is going to look like. This other tail going up that way. Okay, and I'm going to be pleased with how that's going to look. So what I'm going to do is take another zip tie and I'm going to insert it under this one, and that's going to be what I attach the bow to the wreath. And this time I'm going to use a brown zip tie because it'll blend in better with our grapevine, and I'm just going to slip that right under, and I'm going to pull my zip tie nice and tight and cut off the excess. Now I'm going to take my zip tie and I'm going to feed it through. Not too far out. I want it to be towards the inside of the wreath. So I'm just going to go through some of these vines. And I'm going to attach, pull my grapevine, pull my zip tie. And cut off the excess. Just want to make sure I got that on nice and tight. We can just fluff our bow out a little bit. We'll be moving it around as we're working on the, so I'm not going to be too fussy. Just give you an idea how that's going to look. I like that green with the flamingo. And like I said, it just adds a little bit of whimsy. I hate to cut his head off. I'm going to see if I can leave him long. We'll wait before we trim anything. Okay. So I'm going to put our ribbon aside. We're done with that for now. And usually I go ahead and make the bow prior to coming on and videoing, because it just seems to make the video a little long, and I hate to take up so much of your time. Okay, next I'd like to take some of these pieces of greenery that have the twigs in them. I have 2 of those. Like this. It has a variety of greenery in it. And I'm thinking I'm going to come between the 2 ferns and add that. Put a little blue. Add my moss. Just get my leaves twisted in the right direction. We have this fern coming down towards the center. And we've got our twigs, just adding, again, another element of some whimsy. So that second one I'm going to take, and again, I'm going to go opposite. And I'm going to come in right down here. Remembering this is my transition point. So now I'm going to be going in the other direction. I'm going to come in. I think that needed to go back just a little bit. Yeah. Get some of our twigs moving over in this direction. It just gives it so much dimension. Just bring a little bit of our berries up. And let me get my moss in there. Okay, so that really gives us nice greenery, nice movement. Let you see that up a little bit closer. You can see the twigs that we have here. Coming out down here on the bottom, just adding so much more texture. Now we'll continue with our greenery that has some berries and so forth. So we went between the fern there. We came to the side of the fern underneath our tails. So how about if we came up on the side and we've got some of these green berries that'll be behind our bow. Adding a little bit of my moss. I like those berries coming out there. Okay, I've got some more berries, so I think I want to come opposite that. So I'm going to come over here between the two ferns that we placed there. Working in a back and forth motion. So now we've got our berries there, and we've got some berries here. I think that looks nice. Okay, I've got another long piece here. I'm thinking we'll come right in there and we'll have the berries. Just building this up. Letting some of that greenery, just bend it where you want it to go. Letting that come towards the center. We've got like a little fern here. We could have that go more upward. We've got our berries. This particular grass. There's this one. So we've got lots of movement. Now let's take our other berry. We had that one there, so we need to come down this way. So let me just see how I'm going to want these to hang. I'm thinking it might be nice to have that coming out of here. So I'm going to go right in there so that we're incorporating the bow into our design. It's not just sitting there. I like that. It's giving us some separation. Make sure you can see all our colors. Okay, let me just bring that a little closer so you can see where I placed that right in here. Got some glue strings. We'll go back over it and get those off. So I think we're incorporating the bow. Just pulling the glue strings off. So much glue. I just pull it off and kind of roll it up and drop it back into my glue skillet, and it melts back down again. Okay, I think that's looking nice. So let's get some florals in. I do have a little bit more greenery. If we need it, we'll put it in. But let's get some of our florals. And one thing I've learned in design school is to usually what you like to do is to put your larger items in first. First we determined our perimeter, so we got that in. Then the next largest was our bow. Now we have these larger head florals, the peonies. Those should stay, because they've got weight, they should stay a little closer to our bow, and we'll use some of our smaller buds out the way that I think you would see it in nature. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is come right down here, and I'd like to get that peony right in there. I'm sorry, I'm right in front of you, but I'm placing it right here. See where my stem went, and I can get some moss on that glue. Okay? So you can see we've placed our first peony. Because we put one there, I'm going to go opposite, like I was telling you. Okay, so we have another larger. I'm just going to kind of fluff it a little bit. It's got a really pretty, vibrant yellow center. And I think that one would look quite nice right up here. Get a little bit of moss in there. So we didn't hide our berries. You can still see the berries. Now let's try our medium-sized. I think I would want that one to just kind of drop down a little bit so they're staggered heights. So let me get some glue on that. These peonies are absolutely beautiful. I don't know if you can see that. They even have this pink and the same color as the berries on the underneath portion. Just so realistic. Okay, so you can see we got one facing that way, one this way, and this one pointing down. That's the way they would be in nature, so that's the way you want to incorporate them on your wreath as well. So that's pretty. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention is working in triangles. So you can see we have a triangle with our florals here. But what there'll be is a series of triangles throughout the design. And you'll see that as we go. Because we could call this here our bow, and this creates a triangle. And that's what we want to do. Studies have shown that odd numbers are more pleasing to the eye. The eye is able to follow the odd numbers better. Okay, so I'm just looking to see what I have. So this would be number 4, and the bud would be number 5. So I'd have 5 of my peonies in there. So I'm thinking this one should probably come out here. So I'm going to go ahead and insert that one there. Because don't forget, if this is on someone's door, as people are approaching, they're going to be seeing this not just straight on. They're going to see this from all different angles. So we want to make sure there's something for every angle. We want the wreath to draw people in. Okay, so I like that one off here to the side. And then I think our small bud, I'm going to wait on this. I know this is probably going to go up here or over here. I'm not sure yet. So I do have our white peonies that have the lighter center. I'd like to get those in. They're our next largest. So we could create a triangle in this area. Just by placing a peony there. Maybe that one facing down a little bit. So let's get that one in. Again, I'm going in the direction of the grapevine. So that one's facing a little way downward, that one going up. So if someone were approaching from this direction, they'd be able to see that. Okay, and I'm thinking this one. Just try it on for size first, see if you like it. Yeah, I like that, dividing those two. So I'm going to try that, and that's opposite. But I think I'm going to push that one in a little bit more to bring the eye in. I don't want everything sitting at the same depth. So that one's going in a little bit tighter, like that. Let me just get back here, see where my stem is. Put a little bit of my moss. Okay, just so you can see that a little closer. We've got our berries. This one's facing down, that one's going up in that direction. We've got everything going in different directions. You can see it's not flat. Okay. We've got the hydrangea that has a little bit of the pink on the ends. I think that would be nice, just peeking out over here. Let's see where we'd place our other. So you got that one there, maybe this one come to the inside here. Making sure not to cover our berries. I'm going to just step back and take a look. I like how that looks. Okay, I'm going to place this. I just find this so relaxing. I mean, I know I'm chatting with you, but if I were just out here and not videoing, it's just a nice quiet time. The way the world is today, sometimes, you know, we just need a break from all the negativity in the world. Okay, and then we had placed this one here. Make sure that's where I still want it. Or do I want it more up here? I think I still want it here behind the bow. It'll just give a little lift to our loops also. I mean, I don't want to crowd the bow, so just make sure I've still got plenty of room, and I do. And I am going to have to cut this flamingo off. He's just too long. There, I think that looks nice. So we've got here and here. You can see series of triangles. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to use our stargazer lilies or not. I think I'm going to hold off on those because we've got our ranunculus. I like that up there. Yeah, I like that just kind of cascading forward. Giving it some movement. When that's on someone's door and the wind is blowing, this will flutter. Very pretty. Yeah, maybe that way. Because the bud would be growing towards the sun. So that looks nice. So let's get one down here. Catching my glue strings. I look a little crazy kind of doing this all the time, but that's what I'm doing as I see them. Oh my goodness, this is coming out beautiful. It's so, I just love peonies. It's just so gorgeous. I'm still going to wait on that because I have two of them. I just want to really make sure they show. So I'd like to bring ranunculus out this way. And I think that's a little too far back. Oh, that would look pretty right there coming forward. Yeah. See how that moves? I love that. I think I'd like to see one coming in down here also. Make sure I don't hide our berries. Oh yeah. See how that's got so much movement? Very nice. I mean, this is really filled with florals. Okay, I do still have another hydrangea, which I was thinking I might want it up in that area. I just wanted to get a little of the light color so that then we could bring in our bud here and it would be breaking up that pink a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put this bud in. Oh yeah. I don't know if you can see how real that looks. And the color on the tips of the leaves, it's just beautiful. Good quality florals. Oh, this is just so lush. Okay, we've got our other bud. Just need to trim it a little bit. Okay. Figure out where our next little bud should go. say we have it hanging right out there. I think I like deciding to put the flamingo. I had thought that the florals are so elegant that I was going to just leave them by themselves, but I think adding a little bit of whimsy with the flamingos is fun. Brings it down. It's not quite so formal. Peonies can be very formal. Yeah, I'm pleased with our decision. Now, let's see, do we want to use our lilies? We could place a lily in here for some more interest. There. Or we could have it up there. And then this one has a bud on it. That one could be coming out here. Or could we get one in over here? Maybe this one with the bud. All right, I have another ranunculus with some greenery. Maybe we'll put that up there. Yeah, I like that there better. We may not be able to fit those lilies in. Okay, let me get this one in. Like I said, I'm new at this, so it's kind of, I'm, you know, learning, and it's like I'm talking to myself as I'm going. One day I hope to be able to be experienced enough with this whole video idea and do Facebook Lives where you can comment and we can chat together. You can give me your opinions. I would love to do that, but I know I'm not ready for that right now. I'm just too new, and I think it would be too much for me to take on, if that makes any sense to you. I feel like I need to focus on the design. I can't be over here looking at the iPad, and I guess I'm lucky that I can walk and chew gum. We'll see. Hopefully I will be able to do that eventually and get to feel as though I build relationships with those of you that are watching. I think that would be nice. Okay, I like that up there. I still feel like I need something back there, but I don't think it's a flower. I just think I need to add, I think we've got so many florals in here, I just think I need a little more greenery. I mean, this is full. Yeah, that's better. And it's almost like the wreath talks to you. If you stand back and you take a look, it'll let you know where it needs something. As silly as that sounds, that's how I feel. I think also it could use some greenery behind this one. I think that's too long. Although this might be nice. How about if we put that there? Yeah. And another one trailing. I think that would look pretty. just hold on to your grapevine when you're inserting, you know, to give yourself some leverage. I need to cut this tail off. It's a little too long. Just cut that green one down a little bit. I just wanted to bring a little bit of that green forward. There, I think that looks better. So what do you think? Oh my goodness, I love it. And not to sound boastful, I can't help it. I just think it's so pretty. So what we need to do is look at it and make sure, does it look balanced? So if I stand back a little bit and I look here and how far it's, maybe this could be turned in. See about how much, yeah, I think we're doing good. We've got our twigs creating some interest and whimsy as well. We can just move those around. What do you think about maybe we put one more coming here? Let me stand back. Or how about here? Towards the center. Actually, I think I want to pop a color down here. So that's our last ranunculus that we have to add. Oh yeah, I like that, bringing a little color down here. Against the green, the contrast looks nice. Well, I think we did it. Please hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. I would so appreciate it. It would help me get followers. It would help my small business grow. Also, take a trip to my Etsy shop, Inspired by My Angel, CLM, and take a look and see some of the other designs that I've created. Also, I'm beginning my own website. If you were to Google Inspired by My Angel, CLM.com, you can see the designs that I've created, and if there's something that you're interested in, if you hit it, it'll bring you directly to my Etsy shop. So that's Inspired by My Angel, CLM.com. Also, if you're in your Etsy site, Inspired by My Angel, CLM, shop name, favorite my shop. Again, that would help me with the algorithm and getting my items shown, and you'd be giving support to a small business, and I would appreciate it. So I hope this was informative. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. And let me just give you one last look before I say goodbye. This is what we did today. I'll go back over it, make sure all the glue strings are taken off. Cover any places. If a stem came through the back, we did pretty good. Maybe right here, I'll cut that off. I'll put a little bit of moss. And then I'll need to take photographs, and I'll have this listed in my Etsy shop by tomorrow. Thank you again so much. I hope to see you on the next video. Bye now.